I haven't seen you guys since December, since the holidays. Christmas has passed. I hope you had a good holiday. I hope you had lots of food. I hope you got to spend time with your family and your friends, and I hope it was good. But now we're back. And I have yet another book haul, obviously, because Christmas passed, my birthday passed, everything passed, all the holidays. On top of the book haul I already did, I got more books because I have a problem. Today I have 11 books with me and we're going to talk about them and do yet another book haul. Some of these ones in this stack I feel like are not as popular as some of the books that I had in my last book haul, but I'm excited for them anyways. My mom got these all for me on Black Friday. Well, I got some of these on Black Friday, and then my mom got the rest of them for me on Black Friday, kind of as another birthday gift. It's been a while since I've looked at the synopsis of these books, so I don't really remember what most of them are about. We're gonna figure it out together and we're gonna talk about it. The first book I have in my book haul is From Blood and Ash. This is a fantasy book. I have heard a lot about this book. This one I think is up there kind of in popularity with Iron Flame. I've heard a lot about Iron Flame and I've heard a lot about From Blood and Ash. Again, don't really know much about what it's about. I've read the back of it, I've read the synopsis, but the synopsis is like, it tells you what it's about, but at the same time it's kind of still really vague. Yeah, I'm reading the synopsis and it tells you what it's about, but at the same time it doesn't. Like, apparently she is a maiden and she's waiting for the day of her ascension. Don't know what that is. And I guess something happened to her family and she's wanting to avenge them. Something about saving a I think she's supposed to be saving a fallen kingdom. I'm assuming she's like, it says maid, but I'm assuming it's kind of like princess to queen vibes, you know what I'm saying? Like the kingdom rests on her shoulders. So I don't know, we'll see what this is about. Again, the synopsis is pretty vague in my opinion, so I'm excited to read it. Again, I've heard it's very good. Dang, the words in this book are kind of small. The words in this book are kind of, there's kind of a lot of words on every page. They're kind of small. Anyways, we'll see what it's about when we get to it. I actually have a lot of books on my TBR now since my birthday and Christmas passed, so I have no idea what I'm gonna read next. I'm in the middle of, well, I'll get to that. You know, calm down, slow down. We'll get to it. I'm excited to read this one. I was super excited when I found it in the store. This one is definitely higher up on my TBR list, so hopefully we'll get to it soon. This stack is like a mix of a bunch of different genres, and so these books are kind of gonna be all over the place. Like there's not really like a specific type of book that I was going for whenever I asked for books for Christmas. I just asked for a bunch of different books that I wanted. So I have like a plethora of different genres. Next I have The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I've heard a lot about Frida McFadden's writing. She's a mystery slash thriller writer, and I've heard a lot about The Housemaid. When I read the synopsis of this, I was like, okay, period. It's giving it's gonna creep me out. It's giving I'm gonna be looking over my shoulder while reading this. I like books that kind of like creep me out, like mysteries and thrillers that kind of like creep me out. And I think, wasn't this turned into a show? Or am I like tripping, or is it gonna be turned into a show? I can't remember. This is about a maid who works for this really rich family, and the wife of the family is kind of horrible to her. She like treats her badly, makes messes just to watch her clean it up, like gives that kind of like she is beneath me type of vibes. And one day the maid notices that like her husband isn't like super happy in their marriage, and she kind of starts getting into things that she's probably not supposed to be getting into, you know what I mean? And so the wife finds out, and I guess she locks her in the attic because of this, and it just goes from there. I am like a baby when it comes to scary things, but I can't do scary movies or like haunted houses or anything like that, but I can do like scary books. I can do scary books, so I'm excited to read this one. Next, I got Anxious People by Frederick Backman, and this is kind of about a whole bunch of different people in the same setting. I love books like this where you get to learn about different people from different walks of life in the same setting. This is kind of like not really a coming of age, but this is kind of just like about people and about life in general. This is about different people who come together looking at a house to buy, and then a robber ends up coming in and holding them hostage. And the situation is supposed to open the eyes of the people who are being held hostage and kind of just bring life back into their certain situations, and they're supposed to learn from the interactions with each other and from the situation in general. And I love books like that, and I'm like super excited to see. I feel like you can learn a lot from books that are written in that way pertaining to just life in general, and I am super excited to read this one. I've seen his books in stores. I haven't really heard anything about Frederick Backman, but I'm super excited to read Anxious People, kind of see how he writes about the anxiety that people feel in different life situations and how that affects their relationships with others. So yeah, I'm super excited to read this one. This one, I feel like I need to be in the right headspace to read this one, because I feel like this one is really gonna open my eyes to certain things in life, and I'm so excited. I love like books like that make me feel like I'm like learning something, even if it's fiction. Next I have Maybe Next Time by Seska Major. This is about a woman who is a workaholic who has a family. She has a family, but she's a workaholic. She doesn't really pay attention to her husband or her kids. She is reliving the same day over and over again, because one day she comes home and she gets into a fight with her husband about how she's such a workaholic and not very invested in her family. And then her husband leaves the house after their argument, and he ends up getting into a car crash and passing away. And she gets the chance to relive the day over and over again and try and figure out why this happened and how she can change it. And for some reason, everything that she's doing is not working, and she's just trying to figure it out. And I'm trying to think of the movie where she gets to relive the same night over and over again. I can't think of it right now, but it's kind of like that kind of situation where she gets to relive it and kind of like try and figure out how she can change the course of her life on that day. And I love movies like that, and I was really excited when I found a book like this. This one sounds really good, so I'm super excited. So next is going to be Unchosen by Catherine Blair. This is kind of more so dystopian. This is about Charlotte, who is the unchosen one, and her little sister is the chosen one. Their country and their world gets taken over by a virus which creates flesh-eating humans. And the chosen one, her younger sister, is supposedly the one who can break this curse and save potentially the human race. And so one day a force comes and raids their home looking for the chosen one. And so Charlotte makes the quick decision to save her little sister and say that she is the chosen one, when really her little sister Vanessa is the chosen one. Brings on a whole thing. They take her. She is trying to stay alive while keeping up this lie, because if they don't, they will probably do God knows what to her. And so this is kind of like a dystopian, kind of gives me Maze Runner vibes, in the sense that there's like the flesh-eating monsters and the curse and everything like that. And I'm just super excited to read this one. I haven't read a dystopian book in a really long time. I haven't read a dystopian book since I read Shatter Me and The Hunger Games. I'm still in the middle of The Hunger Games. Let's not talk about it. That video will go up when it goes up. Let's not talk about it. But yeah, I haven't read a dystopian book since I read those books, and so I'm super excited to read this one. This one is called Small Favors by Erin A. Craig. This is about a girl named Ellery, and this is kind of more of a fantasy also. So this is about Ellery Downing, and she is kind of stuck in her little small town because there's an impenetrable forest surrounding it. There's supposedly monstrous creatures in those woods, which is keeping everybody, including her family that are in that town, in the town. But then one day a couple of villagers go missing, and that kind of unsettles the entire town. But Ellery is kind of wanting to know what's going on. She wants to know why they can't leave. Who's to say that there's monstrous creatures in there? Like, who's to say what's really going on? So she is kind of trying to figure out what's going on. They she figures out that the monsters are in fact real, and they're trying to make deals with the residents of their small town, trying to, I guess, in a way, fulfill their deepest, darkest desires for a small favor. We know that those favors aren't really small. She's trying to figure out how to stop this so she can save her family and the people in her village. So I'm super excited for this one. This one sounds so interesting to me, and I'm so excited to read it. Next is The Woman in Cabin 10. This book is going to make me scared to go on a cruise, but this is about a woman on a cruise who goes missing. After I read this book, I don't know if I want to go on a cruise. This is about a woman on a cruise who goes missing. Somebody who is on the ship sees her, I think they see her fall overboard, or somebody pushes her overboard and they see it, and they're trying to convince the people on the ship, like, hey, like, this woman fell off, like, we need to do something, like, we need to call somebody, like, this woman got pushed off the ship, fell off the ship, whatever. Everybody on the ship is saying that there is no one who goes by the name of the woman who supposedly fell off the ship. There's nobody that goes by that name. There's nobody staying in cabin 10. Like, there's nobody on this ship that goes by that name. And she's like, and the main character is like, no, like, I saw it with my own eyes. I know there was a woman here. And like, she feels like she's going crazy, and she's just trying to figure out what's going on. Like, that just gives, like, ooh, like, thinking about that just gives me chills, because just like, imagine being stuck on a boat in the middle of the ocean. You see somebody get pushed off the ship or like fall off the ship, and then like everybody on that boat is telling you that you're crazy and that never happened, and that there's not a woman and never was a woman on that ship that goes by that name that you saw get pushed off. Like, oh my god. That makes me not want to go on a cruise, but like, I'm so excited to read this one. There's so many good books in this stack, and I don't know what to read next, not to mention the ones I got for my birthday. And like, I understand now why people are so daunted by their physical TBR, because now my TBR is freaking huge and I don't know what to read. Next is One of Us is Next by Karen M. McCannis. This is the sequel to One of Us is Lying. This is about the main characters in the first book. This is about their siblings, their younger siblings, and their friends, and I'm really excited to read this one. I really enjoyed the first one, and I definitely didn't see the plot twist coming. In the first one, it was all online, but this one is supposed to be a game of truth or dare that they have to participate in, so that makes things a little bit more interesting, making it more of a physical thing instead of kind of like a carbon copy of the first book where it was all online and they were just spilling each other's secrets. So I'm excited to read this one. There's not really much to say about this one. Okay, I was so excited for this next book. I think it's gonna be such a cute read, such a cute and funny read. Next, I got Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. This is about an old lady named Vera Wong who owns a tea shop, and one day she is, you know, doing her little morning routine, her little old lady cutesy morning routine, and she's doing everything that she does, and she goes down to her tea shop to open it up for the day, and she finds a dead man in her shop, in her tea shop, and she ends up noticing that there's a flash drive in his hand, and instead of calling the police and everything, instead of calling the police to handle it, she ends up taking the flash drive out of the dead man's hands and then calling the police, and she is kind of wanting to solve the murder, honestly, on her own. But this is more of like a comedy mystery type of thing. This is by Jessie Q. Satano. She is the one who wrote Dial A for Aunties, and I loved Dial A for Aunties. It was so funny. It made me laugh out loud. So when I saw that she had another book published, I pounced on it. I was so excited to read this book, and I'm still so excited to read this book, but I decided that I need to focus on one book at a time. So I stopped reading this one and picked up another one, which is the one I'm going to talk about next. Next, I'm in the middle of A Not So Meet Cute. I am really liking this book so far. It's a fluffy, not a fluffy romance, it's a romance book. And look, it has, I don't know if all of her copies are like this, like the old covers, but they have like illustrations in them, and I didn't know they had those. But yeah, this is a forced proximity it's not arranged marriage, it's forced proximity, marriage of convenience. I love it so far. It's so funny. I love Megan Quinn's writing. I have found myself laughing out loud at this book, and I'm just so excited to finish it. I don't know, I think I'm on page like 184 or something like that, so I'm about halfway through, and I'm loving it so far. It's so good, and her characters are just so funny, so well developed. And this is kind of like Grumpy Sunshine, I would say, too. The last book I got this actually a couple days ago, and I'm so excited. I think this is the one I'm gonna read after I finish a Not So Meet Cute. I got Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, and this is the one I'm most excited for in this stack because the last book ended on a cliffhanger, and I just need to know what happened to Roman. I need to know what happened to Roman. I've seen a couple people reading this book and doing their reactions to it, and people were crying. And I'm low-key scared because if anything happens to Roman, I'm gonna be so freaking upset. But I'm probably going to do a reading vlog on this one. My camera died. Anyways, I need to know what's gonna happen with Roman and Iris. I have a bone to pick with Iris's brother because what gives you the right to do what you did? This is part 2 to Divine Rivals, Ruthless Vows. I'm so excited to read this, and I know for a fact I'm gonna do a reading. Oh, do you see that? What is that? Is that me? Did I do that? Anyways, I love the cover. The cover is so pretty. I'm so excited to read it. I'm so excited to find out what happens. This is a three book series, so this is the second one. I'm probably gonna do a full spoiler reading vlog to this because I just need to talk about it. I just need to talk about it. It took me so long to get into the first book, but once I did, I was so into it, and now I'm just so like, I have been thinking about this book since I bought it, and so I'm trying to get through a Not So Meet Cute so I can go ahead and read this book because I'm so excited to read it. Those are all the books I have for you today. I'm super excited to read them. Some of them are books that I haven't heard of before, which I'm like super excited about. Not that there's anything wrong with the more popular book talk books and everything, but it's always nice to find a book that you haven't really heard of to read before. And so yeah, I'm super excited to read all of these. Look out for more videos to come because we have a lot to read. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I guess I'll talk to you guys whenever I talk to you guys next. Bye.